and talk about what we know about Forbidden Door right now. A lot has happened in the last week in which the first impressions of what the show was going to be have vastly changed. And so we are in phase 2 of renegotiating personal expectations, understanding what the card is going to be, what you think the card is going to be, and how do you feel about the changes that, frankly, we have no control over, and do you think that the show will be as good regardless?
I think it'll be good. I mean, the novelty of seeing New Japan guys in there with AEW guys is going to be intriguing enough for everybody. I'm definitely looking forward to the show. I still think we're going to have Tanahashi. I mean, so just to catch up, yes. At Dominion, we're going to get Hiroshi Tanahashi, who was going to just go straight to Forbidden Door before and wrestle CM Punk, of course. Now, like you mentioned, everything's changed. So AEW, they're going to have that battle royal on Dynamite. Winner faces number 1 contender Jon Moxley. Later that night, the winner of that match goes on to Forbidden Door to wrestle who? Well, they wanted to have some kind of semifinal final structure on the New Japan side. So what they did was they made Hiroshi Tanahashi against Hirooki Goto at Dominion as a singles match, and then the winner of that one's going to go to Forbidden Door. I think that it's going to be Tanahashi. Tanahashi walked out on the ramp, made this big entrance. They talked about how he was one of the very best of all time. He is, but the announcers put him over as strongly as you can put over another human being. And I don't think there is any way on earth they're going to flip that script and suddenly have Goto, who is a terrific worker, and I like Goto.
Yes,
but
you can't undercut Goto. Yes,
has no presence in AEW so far. Good, you can do it in the future, but right now, no. I think this is just a singles match so that they can have a semifinal final structure on the New Japan side, and I think Tana's going to go. After that, the thing is, the way New Japan books, you can't announce anything for Forbidden Door till after Dominion because they play it very close to the vest with that stuff.
That's the rules in New Japan. So this main event appears to be overly complicated, and the only reason you overly complicate something is because you plan on doing something in the middle of it. Full confession, when they announced that New Japan was going to have a match, in my brain fog mind, I thought it was going to be Ishii and Tanahashi, which, like, they just had that match.
Yeah.
And it was a hell of a match. And I was like, why are they doing this match again? And then I realized it's Goto and Tanahashi. And then I was like, not why are they doing this match again? Why are they doing this match? So you're right. Tanahashi should win. Tanahashi should win, and there shouldn't be a question of it. Tanahashi didn't even have a match on Dominion before this came about. So there's questions about like where their booking priority is. They're looking at Okada right now, and there's going to be another main event there. Who knows what that's going to be. But going back to this being overly complicated, Moxley and Tanahashi is right there. And Moxley and Tanahashi has been there for over a year. The fact that they just haven't announced it being Moxley and Tanahashi makes me think it's not Moxley and Tanahashi.
Okay.
There is something about this match, and to me, it being something that would be on a pure New Japan card rather than a super show, because this would main event a huge New Japan card, and it didn't necessarily need to be this match. Do they do it now because they think it's the biggest match that they have to offer? It's possible. But there are a couple of things that you could throw in there. We have the Battle Royal. You know right now that Adam Cole, Bryan Danielson, CM Punk, Kenny Omega, none of those guys are going to be in this Battle Royal. So it's going to be a little lean. You still have guys like Miro. You still have guys like Will Hobbs, but those aren't main event guys.
Eddie Kingston.
You do have Eddie Kingston, and Eddie Kingston winning a match at the main event of against Moxley in Dynamite to go on and face Tanahashi at Forbidden Door. There's mileage to that idea, and there's even mileage when I heard this idea. Why not have Tanahashi win the interim title?
Well, I mean, I would worry. I mean, Tanahashi, I don't think is going to be on AEW week after week after week.
Why
That's
not?
a tough one. I just
Well,
don't.
let me throw this out to you. Let me throw this
Fair
out to you.
enough. No, fair enough.
The last few years, Tanahashi has been in the G1, and he has been in the lower end of the brackets. He has not been positioned as someone that has been winning anything more than 8 or 10 matches in a bracket for the last couple of years. His stock in the States is not what it is in Japan. There is a theoretical idea that you could put Tanahashi front and center, having great matches, defending a title in AEW, while there are a number of other guys over an excursion, keeping them away from Tanahashi for future matches that they might have. And then you could have that Punk and Tanahashi match in September and bring it all back to normal. You could do that. I'm not sure it's the idea that they do, but when you're laying out the pathways of what they could do over the next thing, that's in the top of the list of the idea a direction you could go for rather than at the bottom of any list. And that's the only thing I was going to throw out on that one.
Well, fair enough. I think that's compelling. I'll tell you why I think it's not going to happen. In my prediction is that we're going to get Tanahashi versus Moxley.
Okay.
And I think Moxley's going to win. And here's why I say that. Mm-hmm. You talked about how, this is where it gets overcomplicated. I think that is the straightest line between the 2 points where they need to get. They've lost the CM Punk match, which has got to be heartbreaking it certainly is for fans who are looking forward. That was the one, well, not the one, but one of it's Bryan Danielson, CM Punk against these New Japan guys. We never got to see any of it. We've never got to see it. And now we're going to have to wait a little while longer, unfortunately. So what do you have? Well, now you need an interim champion. It needs to be somebody that you can trust with that title that the fans are going to believe in. And I think Moxley fits that bill. I also think Kingston's kind of an interesting underdog choice just because they have that dynamic. They've wrestled each other before in that sort of I love you and hate you type of feud they had. So another match between Kingston and Moxley wouldn't break anybody's heart. And Kingston, my God, that guy's on a roll, isn't he? Just so interesting, everything he does. So that's a dark horse. But again, we've been talking about safety blankets, and Tony Khan and Goto are 2 totally different bookers. But the idea of we've lost Punk, shit, what do we do and what can we give them when Punk comes back that'll be interesting? And I think it gets easy to just say, okay, we've been circling this match with Moxley and Tanahashi for a year now that they've been kind of and there's a pandemic and who knows what's going to happen. Is like, we can do this now we can do it, and we can have it happen. And I know you said it could headline a New Japan show. Yes, it could. He's an AEW guy. I mean, he's both. He has the deal where he's with both, but he is an AEW guy. And I think Tony Khan would think, well, maybe we can get a little something out of the Tanahashi Moxley match and not just New Japan.
Yeah.
I have a feeling that temptation is going to be a little too strong. The idea of having, let's do the match. We each have a big star at this Forbidden Door thing, and we get the interim champion that we feel comfortable with. So I think that this might be a safety blanket kind of situation where it's a way to get back to a guy they know can draw on top. And so that's just my feeling. I think they are going to take that direct route. But you make a very interesting point, and Tanahashi isn't in the midst of anything over there.
You could belt Tanahashi in an interim AEW title, and no one would bat an eye.
No.
It would be interesting. And it's also, you have the interim word, which changes everything.
Yes.
To me, there are clear indicators that Tony Khan is not interested in giving anyone a 2-time world champion title in AEW. He is saving that. I think he's saving all of these things. Otherwise, like, he would have stripped Punk of the title. He's got these ideas. He's got these dreams of where he's going to have everyone in their stature. Maybe Hangman Page is the first 2-time AEW champion, and his run wasn't as long because he's got that kind of thing. Plans change all the time. I get that, but
and you can certainly tease the idea of a 2-time champion the second Omega's back.
100%. So there are things out there that he just doesn't want to give away, and you take all these little pieces of a jigsaw puzzle and you turn it into a Sudoku game, I guess. Like you take all these things and then you find the right combination. Like, okay, all of these pieces fit. This is going to be a clutch layout right here. So, like we were saying, we talked about Forbidden Door. We're going to be talking about it in 2 weeks after Dominion when all of this has become far more clear. But I will ask you on a scale of 1 to 10 right now, how excited are you for Forbidden Door?
Because we don't know the matches at all. It's tempered a little bit because I what I'm dreading is the idea that it's just going to become a bunch of 6-man matches to get everybody on the card.
Mm-hmm.
And without anything really meaning anything. But I have faith in Tony. I have faith in Gato that they'll put together something special. I'm going to put it at 7.5, and I'll feel better if, for instance, we get Cobb and Great O'Khan challenging FTR for the Ring of Honor titles or something like that. Now I'm on board a little bit more. They haven't announced that, but Cobb and O'Khan didn't show up on Dynamite for no reason, right? And so when you start seeing those things like the champions or former champions facing, getting a shot at the other guy's title and stuff, that's when I start getting fired up about a show. And they seem to be leaning that direction. So I'm going to put it 7.58 right now. And if those matches start getting excited, that'll just go, or announced, that'll just go up. Where's yours?
Yeah, I'm kind of at a 6 right now. I feel like things are really safe in terms of like how they're going about announcing and putting this card forward. A lot of it has to do with Dominion. A lot of it has to do with injuries. I want to be at an 8. I think I'll get to a 9 by the time the show is there. I think once they hit overdrive, things are going to look real fun, and we're clearly just in warm-up mode right now. You got a guy here shows up. No one's actually touched each other besides the FTR, which was before the pay-per-view. Right. So it's already in the rearview mirror. I'm getting there. I'm not where I want to be in terms of like personal anticipation, but they have done nothing to ruin anything for me. And that's you can do that very easily sometimes. You can do that very easily.